Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back for more of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this time on to episode 17 of Season 5. Last time we had some different kind of stuff going on. We had Robin and we did have Robin and May. We did have Robin and May, but we did have present-day Robin with May. We had Daisy and May going after Robin to see if she could help them understand where Coulson was and to try and figure out where Coulson was and everything. So we had that, but then we found out through Polly that ever since she actually prophesized her own death, that ever since then, like, the future was as clouded as the dark side for her and everything, and she just had been non-communicative and silent and all that kind of stuff. So that was unideal, but then also kind of went to great lengths to actually show how kind of potentially how potentially traumatizing that would have been for her, like her being a kid with these powers, but then all of a sudden these powers kind of showing her something that she likely did not expect or even want to see or anything. So yeah, it took her a while, but then of course reunited with May, because I think chances are, because I think her death also happens in May's arms. She literally also dies in May's arms too, and then of all the things, because I think one thing I've also been questioning is that, like, does she actually draw every little thing she sees, or is it like because what she draws is a prophecy, but then the prophecies are also, like, pretty much like more kind of key moments too, like Fitz going into the future and the team, and like like I think like the prophecies that she draws, I feel like because I mean she did also like draw like a fair amount of actual drawings that were stored in Enoch's house too. So then, but then she does draw a lot, but then whether or not she actually draws every little thing she sees, or is it just like the stuff that she can make out the closely? Because then, you know, if her visions are anywhere near like what her dad's was and stuff, like we saw how vague those were and how misleading those were too. So if her visions or anywhere near what her dads are like, then it's like, you know, like they might just kind of be blips that kind of come up every now and then that barely make that much sense, but are clear enough to actually draw pictures from and everything. So yeah, so I think chances are, I think she then could have easily seen moments from the future where leading up to her death too. So when she actually kind of does go underground and actually does get raised by May and watches the team kind of falling apart and the Inhuman, the Kree invasion of Earth and everything, and the enslavement of humanity and everything. So yeah, but in a point being, anyway, she actually stopped drawing and stopped talking as a whole. I mean, she never really talked before that anyway, but then she still stopped kind of communicating through art after having envisioned her own death. So yeah, just pretty depressing all around. So yeah, but then that happened, but then she reunited with May, and then she kind of said hello to her again and said, yeah, I knew Flint would get you back, just like I told you. So yeah, then after that, after that, she regained her connection after that, and then actually drew Coulson and Talbot in the snowy forests of the mountains and everything. So yeah, so now and then that kind of directly connected to Coulson and Talbot actually escaping using the Chitauri kind of transceiver thing and actually teleporting themselves there and everything. So that happened, so that was cool. But yeah, I think then we also had like a nice enough kind of connection between May and Polly too. Like Polly kind of like pretty much kind of admitting that she knows that she's not in those pictures, and for whatever reason that means that she doesn't make it. So then she's just kind of happy that Polly that Robin at least has May, and that she's got someone and everything. So, and then yeah, we had Simmons kind of concocting one hell of a master plan to try and get Fitz out of prison. You know, Daisy kind of being the kind of very kind of like temporary kind of director until she got Coulson back, made it so that Fitz kind of was ordered to actually stay in his little kind of cell, and then Mack was under strict orders to actually not let him go for any reason whatsoever. And then Simmons concocted a great plan to try and kind of goad him and bait him and pretty much pit his own emotions against him and everything. So then she pretended to drink like hydrochloric or hydrofluoric kind of acid or something. There was the same that was used in Yo-Yo's arms, and we saw Yo-Yo's new arms in action too in training, and they looked really cool. So there was that. But she pretended to drink acid, and then Fitz had to kind of pretend to actually know, or maybe not even pretend, but just know exactly what would actually kind of actually cure her and everything. So then they used that, and then Yo-Yo got into the cell and everything. So yeah, the bus kids were pretty much like just at odds in this episode too. Like Daisy kind of like just refusing to trust Fitz at all, and begging Simmons to actually kind of at least wait until they got back, and as a team they could actually decide what to do and how to kind of like how to let Fitz help and how to deal with Fitz and everything. So Yeah, don't exactly know how long that tension might run for, but Simmons herself has proved that. Like, I think Simmons and Yo-Yo kind of proved that Simmons was especially driven by her and Yo-Yo's kind of shared mentality, that because they had seen the future, they were both invincible. Because then Deke was proved to Simmons that her and Fitz kind of lived long enough to have a daughter, and then that daughter gets married, and I was like, oh, at least that they actually lived long enough to actually kind of to become parents. But then that daughter also goes on to have a child and then give them a grandson and everything. So yeah, just the continued reactions of like the team of Yo-Yo kind of giving Fitz her condolences for having Deke for a grandson and everything. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I think also like the time thing too, because I think probably like even watching like my reaction back to editing too, I think I kind of like did notice at points that I wasn't fully recalling exactly what they were trying to actually go for. Like, I think the base level of it was that they both believed they were invincible because they'd actually seen the future, but then also it did, I think, didn't get a chance to actually kind of go back and actually look through the season 3 thing, because I think it was in season 3 in the kind of time not the time travel, but in the same episode in season 3 where we met Robin's father, and he actually kind of gave Daisy divisions too. I think it was in that one that don't know exactly how he described it, but I think Fitz actually mentioned that, like, if you've seen time, then that's it, like what you saw is what's going to happen, because then time travel, I think he said, I don't know if he actually mentioned time travel, so to speak, but then I think he mentioned that, like, you can't really kind of change the future in any way. You can't prevent it, you can't really kind of ensure it. Like, what you saw will happen in the way it's happening, but then it's like how you view it can also be kind of very, very indirect, and how you view it can be everything. Like, he's like I think like a stack of paper and like an ink blot or something, like just some ink on like a paper to actually kind of represent time passing by and being like, I think he mentioned like the I think he mentioned like the fourth dimension. I don't think it was fifth. I think he mentioned like the fourth dimension, how we're 3-dimensional, and like how we can only interact like from a distance because it's like time is on like a whole other dimension, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, does remind me of Interstellar. Like, I think I love that movie so much. I think Interstellar actually kind of showed us thingy. Oh god, it makes sense. Like when I want to, I can't remember the character's name. Matthew McConaughey's character. Not like his daughter is Murph. I think his daughter is Murph. I think him. Fuck, I don't know. Like, when I want to, I can't remember. It makes so much sense. Like, when I actually want to remember it, I can't. But then at the most random points, I'll just kind of remember random kind of parts and lines from that movie for whatever reason. But when I actually want my brain to work, it won't. So yeah, but he fell out and he human through the black hole, and then he actually landed in a tesseract created by humans in the future to allow him to actually kind of interact time. But then his one too, I think he kind of like I think his one was like little boxes inside the planet, and then it had like little moments from the same. I think like I said, like the same kind of point in time, or like the different days in time. I think it was in Murph's room and everything, and that's how he became her ghost and everything. And he like interacted with like the I think with him, I think he actually interacted with strings to actually put Morse code into the actual watch and everything. So I mean, that one is also sci-fi, but I think that one is actually I've heard that one, like, they actually did like an extensive amount of research to make that to even make that sci-fi closer to what we have in real life. So I think they actually put put a lot of effort into that movie to make it what it was, and to make it as kind of fascinating as it was and everything. So it's just easily one of my favorite kind of like space exploration and sci-fi kind of movies of all time. It's so well done. But yeah, I mean, with what little I still kind of understood from it anyway. So there's that big. It kind of did remind me of that, like him saying like, we can't really kind of like, but then with Fitz, I think his reasoning was that like time, we only call it time, but then time itself is like not like it's not entirely kind of what we understand to be, and it's like beyond our dimension, and we can only interact with it by experiencing it. We can't change it or see anything. We can see it like the way that the way that Robin's dad kind of showed Daisy, but then they couldn't actually kind of just tamper with it in any way either. So the point of him saying that was that he was explaining like how like time is pretty much just kind of destiny foretold anyway, so then they couldn't change it even if they wanted to. So then Deke is kind of proof of that for them, and then Yo-Yo, seeing herself having lived that long into the future, albeit in the state that she was, it is proof to her that she lives that long too. And yeah, we had Coulson and Talbot and Creel as well. I think Creel actually made first contact with the Gravitonium, but then it also made first contact with him, and we're reminded that Dr. Hill was actually still in there. But then the little funky little plot twist comes in that Ian Quinn, he hasn't just been missing or on the run for all these years, but I think turns out that probably since the beginning, since the end of season 1. I think I actually did read a comment saying that it was actually like a deleted scene from season 1. Like I think they chose not to use it back then for whatever reason, but now they actually did kind of that was the ending that they originally kind of shot for him anyway. But then up until now, they've just kind of been having it floating in the air that he's actually on the run, he's missing, or like which would also make sense too, because then after everything went down, he did still side with the wrong side. So then his kind of allyship with them is publicly known. So then he would still kind of be kind of enemy number 1 and everything. So they kept that kind of scene in the air and everything, but then kept his presence in the show in the air until now. So then they brought that scene back in, and they pretty much confirmed that deleted scene is actually what ended up happening anyway. So yeah, we find out that Raina actually brought the Gravitonium back to Quinn after Hydra fell. After S.H.I.E.L.D. defeated Hydra in the way that they did anyway. So then I think she actually kind of allowed him to be absorbed by the Gravitonium. So the Gravitonium. So now Ian, Quinn, and Dr. Hall are both in there, just kind of squabbling amongst each other and actually kind of connecting to Creel too, and being the voices in his head and stuff, and hating Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. and telling Creel not to save him right before he did and everything. So yeah, we had that stuff. And Creel did survive too. He fought Ruby off to actually help Coulson and Talbot escape, so he fought Ruby off, and then she still tried to kill him, but then he still survived, so he is still there and everything. So yeah, it was a fun little kind of team up thing with them, so that was cool. And I think, yeah, for the most part, I think that might be it. I think we've covered everything. Robin and Daisy and May, and Coulson, Talbot and Creel, and FitzSimmons and Yo-Yo, so I think that might be it. That may just be it. So some other kind of tidbits aside and everything, so yeah, so now on to episode number 17 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so let's go. Is it Hertfordshire? It's meant to be Hertfordshire. Never heard of Herefordshire or Hertfordshire, probably Hertfordshire. But listen, I know I'm from England, but even my geography on this place isn't really up to scratch. Yeah, I haven't been everywhere, I've barely been anywhere.
Gideon Malik hinted that this place was a crucial R&D site for Hydra.
They came to England.
It's the best bet by far.
Hydra did some stuff in England. Jesus.
I was thinking we could come back to England for our honeymoon. If we ever got one.
Sounds perfect.
Don't make me the third wheel, guys.
Would the metal in her arms make her drop heavier? I just actually thought about that.
No trouble with the straps this time.
Would the metal in her arms actually make her heavier and make her drop quicker?
Come along.
Arm in arm, together, or not at all? Oh, look at him go. Whoa! Oh, too late, she's already found them. She's already found them, and she's already throwing her little spinny blades. Already chopping down trees. That's some chase music right there. That's some...
No, come on, we gotta keep moving. Come on.
You know what? I'd ask what did he trip over, but he's in the snow, so... Daisy! Daisy Bell! That's it, play her theme. When you hear that theme, that's boss music. That's boss music right there.
Not a chance. The legendary Quake.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you're much prettier in person. And mean it. I have your poster up on my wall.
I still need to get that poster up on my wall.
Hero, I want to beat you.
Oh, shit.
You can certainly try.
Oh, jeez. Okay, be careful, she's got blades and she can throw them and they can come back to her. Oh. Oh, nice. Nice moves. Oh, God, I'll cut her hand. Oh, God, I know. Oh, don't tell me only one hand works now. Because she cut one hand. Oh, gosh. Oh, Deke! Oh, of course it's hail. Oh, gosh.
Grab the hemostatic granules.
God, this camera work is so good. Oh, screaming really isn't a good sign.
It's working.
Oh, there we go.
Wow, looks like getting your arms chopped off isn't all bad. Well, yeah, it is. Obviously, it's bad. It's really bad getting your arms chopped off, but...
I was trying to give you backup, even though you threatened to kill me a couple of dozen times.
No, he's coughing up blood. No, he's fully coughing up blood. What the hell happened?
Need help over here.
Is that like a poison bullet?
Now.
Or internal bleeding?
Do I need to force you?
Oh god, are they gonna fight? Mother versus daughter? Could it really come to that? Oh, they stripped everything. They took away everything. Oh, she just has the plainest, like, IKEA-looking bedroom now. Oh, they gave her an IKEA bedroom. Oh no. Is the dog gone too? As long as they didn't kill the dog, they could take the dog out, but they need to take it down or take it out. They took the dog away, and that's just surprising. But they just took away her posters, all of her merch, everything that made it like a typical teenage girl's bedroom.
Tyler's been diverted to space on the second floor of a garden.
Is that an army truck? Oh, those mechs. Those are mechs. Hale's here. The Superior. Oh, it's this Ivanov.
Ivanov is providing security.
So they've already known about that place for a while then, if they're providing security.
You'll need to cut into the wound so we can see what we're doing.
What about anesthesia?
Well, he's already unconscious and I haven't read that chapter yet, so we'll just figure it out as we go.
Oh shit, oh, that means he can wake up in the middle of this, can't he?
And in that future, Earth is gone and the last of humanity is enslaved by alien overlords.
Alien over... I should have stayed myself.
I got an old injury acting up. Not sure what my timetable is exactly.
Oh, for the love of flapjacks.
Anything else we can do for him?
We're here if they need a hand.
They have medical experience
Can I
too?
talk to you for a
Will
second?
they provide moral support? You can do it, Deke. You can go through. You can do it. I mean, if he doesn't have anesthesia, surely there's a chance he might wake up, right? That would be terrifying. Waking up in the middle of surgery.
Maybe I'm reckless. Better to go out doing something that matters.
No. You don't get to make that decision alone. It's made with the people who love you.
May.
And that's me. I love you. I thought that would shut you up.
Oh, Philinda. Very, very angsty Philinda. Very angsty and painful Philinda. Just her very sternly saying, I love you, you idiot. Yeah, that's what we need.
You don't have to follow her orders anymore.
She locked me in here. I don't have a choice.
Of course you do. You could tear her apart if you wanted to.
Oh, gosh. Is he really going to convince her to kill her own mother?
Why don't you?
You'll have your chance with the chamber.
Another step toward becoming the superior.
He wants to go into the chamber?
I hope it is as powerful as
A fucking LMD powered by gravitonium? Ooh, that's a nice big boom. He wants to go into the chamber too, god damn. I mean, I feel like he wants to, but I feel like it definitely ain't gonna happen. Can Yo-Yo move in tandem with her arms too? Like, will her arms go into super speed with her? They won't, like, slow her down, will they? Okay. Oh, nice. I'm sure they can still break through that. They're mechs and he's an LMD. You know, they can, like, tear it down or something. Whoa. Whoa. That looks like the thing they had Steve in First Avenger.
His heart wants.
He wants to be first into the chamber. I want to see what it does to human flesh.
He's like mostly techno right now, right? Like he's like his is an his body's an LMD.
I've passed every test and I've learned every lesson, and I'm not enough.
I never said that.
I'm a disappointment. You said that, Mom.
You said that multiple times, at least twice.
After all I've ever wanted to do is please you. You're my one weakness, Mom.
Oh, she has to eliminate her. She has to eliminate weakness. She's got to eliminate her mother. No. Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Ruby, stop!
I'll make you proud.
Oh, no, just locking her in. Okay. Right then.
How'd it go?
We're free and clear.
So these two really are working together. What about Creel? Is he still just kind of locked in? Oh, this is one hell of a reunion.
It's okay.
No, she's good. No, not LMD. Yeah, human or inhuman Daisy Johnson.
I scared George, and
Oh yeah.
I need to talk to my son. I need him to know I haven't forgotten him.
Scans an element at the atomic level, and then this component converts it to be merged with the recipient's DNA.
I think it's the same technology that gave Carl Creeley's powers. Only his abilities are temporary and require physical touch.
Yeah, but the machine's been upgraded,
Seems
so
pretty
hell would choose
effective, although
Gravitonium.
nonetheless.
I get it, no gizmo, no apocalypse. We have to let Coulson die.
Oh, right, that was her one
That doesn't
command.
make sense.
Trying to save him is what led to the end. Mack is going to be sad to miss this.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yo,
What the hell? Oh, is it her arms can't work with the speed? Did they adapt her powers, or did they just give her cool new arms?
You made a mistake.
Yeah, a big mistake. How do you even begin to make up for something like that?
You fixed something else. That's why I
Deke.
like engines. Putting the pieces together.
Oh shit.
No.
Piper, what do we do?
Oh, I saw blood. There's blood. It's meant to be inside the body.
Must have nicked an artery.
An artery? That sounds dangerous. Oh, there's the sucker.
Did not think I'd be doing this today.
Oh, hey, that's your shield agent. Whoa, no.
Oh, damn it, stay still.
Oh no. Seizing, he's seizing. I'm pretty sure he's seizing.
I was using my speed and it felt like my arms were being ripped off.
Her arms haven't been adapted. Yeah, fucking knew it.
Transmitting every electrical signal simultaneously.
It's an overload. It's an overload. It's too much.
I don't even
Go for the head. For the love of God, please, I beg of you both, go for the head. Go straight for the head.
I'm sorry you never got the honeymoon you dreamed of.
Nonsense. I'm protecting England from evil robots with the man I love.
Oh God, FitzSimmons action crumbs. This is like Marvel's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. FitzSimmons. Oh, the slow-mo. Oh, having each other's backs. Oh. Ivanov, God, oh. Ivanov. Come on, you don't have to use speed to fight him. You got combat training.
The perception of time is an illusion.
Last Mack.
According to Herman Minkowski, space-time...
No, you know what? I was wrong. It's not helping.
Hearing sci-fi facts, hearing science facts in the middle of a fucking gunfight.
Now you are also part of the machine.
Not the part that matters.
Yeah, she's still got hearts. Can she feel pain in her arms? Like, her arms have... Do her arms have like some other synthetic nerve ending or something? Whoa! They just punched the heart out. Punched the heart out. Oh no! Oh, whoa! Oh, were they connected to Ivanov? I think because they were LMDs, right? They were LMD thingies. Yeah, they were connected to Ivanov, so killing him wipes them out. Yeah.
You are on a lot of drugs. But hey, good news. You didn't die.
Thank you.
That's a good thing to hear on drugs.
Yes, I want to put my mouth on her mouth and move it around, but I don't want to do that unless she wants to too, because that's what makes it nice.
Hey, even on drugs, he understands consent.
She wants that because she does not like me.
She's not my type, but I get it.
Okay, Space.
He's
Man.
more
Maybe we should...
Mack! Dude! You are so cool. Do we know any handshakes?
Alright, I appreciate that, but...
Should I shave my head?
Yeah, no, I see no flaws in that plan.
Maybe then Daisy would like me because she protected me. She's very smart.
You don't need to be on drugs to love Daisy, but
also,
you know what? I get it. Yeah, I get it too.
Something weird just
happened. Just in the nick of time.
Remember the signal transceivers from the Macks?
Oh, that was glorious. Yeah.
We're tracing
I want to put my mouth in her mouth and move it on that.
We can't transfer the gravitonium until it's repaired.
Oh, they gonna make them repair it?
Don't have a choice.
God, such a psychotic smile.
Never did.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
So it took some doing.
Oh.
Phone was
no,
set to
phone.
bounce through a dozen phone
I didn't know that was a phone. I thought it was something else.
A few minutes, but you can
That's a phone.
call them.
Oh, I did that. Oh, that's an old-timey phone. Okay, like an older phone. Yeah.
I just want you to tell George that his dad's okay, and his father loves him very much. And I'm getting better.
What is best is you comply.
Oh no, what?
Remember, your compliance will be rewarded.
Oh no. No, Glenn, no.
I'm happy to.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, Hydra, you mind-meddling little fuckwits, god damn it. I don't know how long ago it started. I feel like it might have been recent. I think it might just be also be like the way episodes like this are edited, because I feel like it's also like live TV shows, but also like actual network kind of TV shows. So I think maybe like cable shows. I think that's what this, and also I think DCW the Arrowverse shows too. I think they're like the way they'd be edited, where like they'd be like when it leads up to like a pretty kind of heavy or like a particularly kind of momentous kind of moment, it would cut to like the music would lift up and it would cut to black and then it would actually come back and everything. So it's just kind of maybe there for dramatic effect, but I can't help but wonder like maybe like if it works that way because of the fact that like when it airs on TV there'd be commercial breaks, especially because I think ABC I'm pretty sure was an actual kind of commercial kind of channel too, so then like that makes it easier for them to actually choose when to cut to commercial break and then come back. It's like, you know, oh, what happens next, find out after the break and all that kind of stuff. So I guess it still kind of works here to kind of hold that tension before immediately dropping it too, so I guess like it kind of works there too. But then it's like, you know, especially like, you know, like after it feels like it's been a while when that kind of cut happens, it also like because also obviously with Shield you have the actual Shield logo fading in and then fading out, so then after a while it kind of ended up with me actually waiting for that to happen and then be like, oh no, it's just blank screen and then it comes back. So yeah, either way it still worked. I think definitely they definitely included a lot more than I thought it would. So there was that, but still made for a really fun, really hectic kind of episode, so there was definitely that. But yeah, we had Deke kind of hanging back to try and help Daisy fight Ruby and everything, and then he got shot, and then that was the whole thing. So I mean, I was right here. I mean, I think it did only get show him getting shot once, but then with the amount of shots going off, I thought maybe he might have taken like 1 or 2 or 3 to the chest. I mean, it would be like a really critical condition, fatal kind of thing. But not to say it didn't still kind of progress to very, very kind of fatal lengths too. Like he did end up coughing out blood and bleeding out, and he had to go into surgery, so they did that, and then yeah, so that was Piper and Mack kind of taken up pretty preoccupied for the entire episode, like them performing surgery. I think Mack being the kind of the hands, and then Piper being the brains, having kind of studied most of like the medical kind of textbook that Shield kind of gave her. And I guess it kind of makes sense that Mack would have said it, because I think I was kind of wondering like him kind of being, not to say that his buffness would like be like any kind of like an interference, but I think him being like well, I mean I guess that like I think if you are kind of as well built as he is and as well trained as he is, I guess that means that you actually have greater kind of like motion kind of control over your body too. So maybe like him having steady hands would actually kind of make sense in that way too. But I was kind of wondering like what his actual medical kind of knowledge, what extent like to what extent his medical knowledge would be, because then Piper's obviously saying this stuff, but then how much Mack actually understands. Because then I was kind of curious if it would be like, you know, like Piper would say something, but then she'd probably have to simplify it down and be like, okay, take this and then cut into that muscle there, or cut into that kind of skin, or, you know, like widen this kind of area out and then dry out or dispense or whatever. But then no, he perfectly understood like actual medical terminology, and he still kind of perfectly followed instructions without needing kind of extra time or anything. So, you know, he's not just a big strong man. He is actually intellectual. He has knowledge. He's a mechanic. He understands how things work. He understands how cars work. He understands how people work and everything. So he's a very intellectual and very, very well trained man. You know, so very quick on the spot and very kind of like able to deal with emergencies and everything. So him and Piper made a hell of a duo. In that operating room, and they both kind of, you know, brought Deke back from the edge and everything. So yeah, they did a great job. And then Deke on drugs, Deke high on medication. I think he was unconscious before. I think she did say like he was unconscious before, but then when he started seizing in the middle of the operation, then started checking everything, that's when they actually kind of sedated him afterwards. But then maybe actually kind of giving him continual doses. So I don't know exactly how much they gave him in that moment and how far they were away from actually completing everything. But either way, I think they either did or they didn't give him anything afterwards to help him recover. But either way, I think as expected, he was high on drugs, and Deke high on drugs is, you know, he doesn't need to be high on drugs to be kind of like to be interested in Daisy. He just needs to be high on drugs to admit it. He thinks because then Deke is probably kind of having like some kind of like sexual, some kind of like sexual or romantic tension thing with her. But then Daisy is genuinely pissed off. She's actively pissed off that he's not listening to her and that he's not following her orders, and then he's going back in just to get himself hurt and then making himself even more like a liability. So she's actively trying to lead and everything, and she's actually trying to get the job done. And Deke's just bozoing his way into the line of fire and compromising the situation and everything. So she's actually annoyed at him, and then he's just kind of like, he's into her, and he's trying to get his point across in like a really kind of angsty and kind of frustrated way and everything. But then one moment where he admits that he does see her as like a hero, or that he does actually see her as a good person, and he wants to actually allow that good person to do stuff, and then that's at the end of the Cassius arc, where when he actually offers to lets them get ahead to try and get to the actual monolith that fits the Flint is building and everything. So that's when he's like, when the person you meet is a good hero, and when the person you meet is actually a hero and a good person, you gotta let them kind of try and get back and do something right and everything. So that's the first time he actually admits it. But then, yeah, I think now going forward, he's just he's pretty much said openly admitted to actually being interested in her, and actually he's like his line of like Daisy, she's got such a pretty face, I want to put my mouth on her mouth and move it around and everything and stuff. So he wants to make out with Daisy, which again, I mean, can't blame him. Even Piper even Piper was like, well, she's not my type, but I get it. So yeah, can't help but wonder kind of exactly what Piper's type would be. She has very kind of very awkwardly and very very briefly kind of had like a moment with May in the past, but I don't know if it went. I mean, I feel like that's something that some fans will and some fans won't read into, like shipping and all that kind of stuff. And and again, I think this show has done a fantastic job handling its romances, canon or mostly canon. It's done a fantastic job actually handling its relationships in like a mostly kind of healthy and like a authentic kind of way and everything. So yeah, but I think shipping. I think people should still kind of be free to ship whatever they ship and put whoever they want or however many people they want together and everything. So yeah, so I wonder who Piper's type is, but I think she still she gets it. She gets it. Like Daisy's not particularly her, but specifically her type, but she still gets it. So yeah, and yeah, I think Deke's fan that really kind of got me was like, what? But I mean, it probably wouldn't work because then she'd be into it, and then that wouldn't be as nice. So he actually still, even drugged up and everything. He's still, I mean, not even, but I think obviously like a consent is like a good and important and healthy kind of thing to promote too. But I think them actually kind of bringing that up to like him being like, well, I do want to make out with her, but then if she's not into it, and if she doesn't want to do it, then it doesn't make it as fun. It's important for her to kind of be into it with him as well, and it's like but along with that, it's like but then I also get the feeling she doesn't like me very much. So then it's just like a lot of other factors that come into play and everything. So that's just Deke speaking for all the Daisy and Quake stands in the fandom. That's just like it's just him speaking for all the like men, just women, that's just anyone in the fandom attracted to Daisy Johnson. That's just him kind of him out be on drugs, just still speaking out loud, just saying what everyone's thinking. So yeah, just it definitely makes sense. Definitely get it. I think that's for one of the few kind of relatable things that he's actually kind of said and everything so far in the show. So yeah, I think again Daisy walked in the nick of time when he passed out, and he had nothing more to say, and then even Piper looking at Mack, and Mack be like, no, you know what, I wouldn't. It's just let her live without, because I still my memory of Daisy kind of reacting to Koenig's kind of confession of all the kind of Quake fanfic on the internet, like that was kind of like she was disturbed enough for that, and then finding out that Deke is also actually into her. I mean, I don't know if she actually knows, or if she maybe thinks that he's only actually attracted to her and not actually interested in her, like he doesn't actually like her, he just wants to make out with her, or maybe have a fling or something. So I don't know, but either way, I think they're definitely just not really going to go in that direction. I don't think either. I think even if she finds out, I think she might also kind of very swiftly and very sternly kind of shoot him down as well. Given all this happened between them two, I think that there's very obvious and very definitive very definitive reason for her to kind of hold a grudge against him. And I think the stuff that he's done would not really encourage her to actually kind of like to have or even explore any kind of attraction to him at all. So, you know, there's that, and then also the fact that he's the grandson of her two best friends and everything. Despite what tension there is between them, he's still the grandson of her two best friends, so that would make it even more awkward. So, but it does kind of make me wonder if maybe she'd actually explore a fling more than a relationship, and then maybe like with the relationships not having fully worked out for her in the past, maybe then she might think, oh, a fling would be far less lethal on her heart and everything. So I don't know, but you know, whatever happens. So. Also, I mean, I don't know how likely it is you actually, like, how likely it is you, like, you remember what you say when you're high, because then you can just easily be high on anesthesia in general, and you can be saying stuff, because then it's actually a very kind of, like, it's a very kind of loopy kind of drug, and everything, but I feel like, from my viewing experience, at least, like, most commonly, it's like people who have their wisdom teeth taken out, and then they're high on drugs after that, and then they're just kind of saying all sorts of stuff and everything. I remember there was one I watched where this girl actually had wisdom teeth taken out, and then she was in the car ride home, and she was high as fuck, and then I think it was her brothers who convinced her that like a zombie apocalypse had started and everything, and that one was fucking hilarious to watch and everything. There's been countless. There's so many videos that people have taken of like their family members and their friends actually kind of going through procedures or actually having their. I think most commonly I think it's actually wisdom teeth taken out, because I think that's far less kind of invasive and far less kind of, you know, like, I think slightly more common maybe, and everything. So there's that, and then people just kind of being high as fuck, and people confessing to stuff, or people kind of reacting really kind of outwardly to being told like the most random stuff, or both. Just anything goes. So how much of that does the actual person remember? Because then, if they do remember a lot or even enough from it, then it'll be interesting to actually watch Deke kind of move on from that and actually kind of have him remembering at least part of what he said, and then or maybe Piper and Mack having to remind him that he confessed to all that kind of stuff about Daisy, and it's probably passed out and everything. So I don't know, but either way, I think it would be cool to actually kind of bring it in every now and then for like a little gag or something, but it probably won't be. It means like so much more. Actually, kind of makes it so much more fun to just have it as like a running gag or anything, as opposed to actually having it be like an actual kind of explored, legitimate kind of thing between them. So. And yeah, speaking of ships and everything, canon ships and angst in said canon ships, for Linda, we had a very angry I love you, very angry and very frustrated, like, I love you, that's what it is. And yeah, there's more to it, obviously, but yeah, no, for Linda, they had I feel like a very long overdue, mostly because he had given himself up, and then Ego was away for so long. Kind of talk about his decisions and everything. They had the briefest talk before he went about why it was a bad idea and why they need to happen and everything. I feel like I think May is. I feel like May actually is right in the situation. Like it feels like he's actually being more openly reckless than before. Because I feel like before. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it feels more because he's dying and because we know he's about to die, or because we know he has to die, or if it's because Because, I mean, he had recklessness back in Season 2 as well, like, with the whole Kree City thing and all the alien stuff happening there and the writing on the wall, like, he had recklessness there, and then, I think since he himself became director of S.H.I.E.L.D., so pretty much from Season 2 onwards, I feel like, since he's taken that personal responsibility since he's been given that personal responsibility by Fury, because, I mean, Fury told him to lead, but he never told him how to lead. I think fair respect to him, I think he wanted Phil to actually, he wanted Coulson to actually kind of actually to take that responsibility himself. Like, he gave him the freedom to lead however he saw fit, and he told him to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. from the ground up, so then he did, but then Coulson also led the team and the agency how he saw fit and everything. So, but that's, I think, since then, I feel like he's always kind of been like, I think Season 2 focused on a lot of that. I think Season 2 focused on a lot of that, and how a lot of people within S.H.I.E.L.D. disagreed with that recklessness and with the secrecy and all that kind of stuff. And that's why then Gonzalez went on to make his own S.H.I.E.L.D. and they had the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. versus S.H.I.E.L.D. thing and the whole kind of rebellion from Bobby and from Mack and everything, and then it's like like welcome to the real S.H.I.E.L.D., all that kind of stuff. So I feel like we've had it since then, but the stakes haven't been this high since then. I think back then we never had the kind of prophecy, or like he kind of worried that Phil would actually die, or that he'd actually kind of like he actually have death waiting for him. But now he's had moments in the past where when he's actively kind of talked to kind of opposing sides and talked to kind of opposing people and everything. When Gonzalez invaded the base and everything, I feel like that was pretty much like a no-brainer. I feel like he really just had nowhere else to turn. He couldn't fight back without losing even more numbers in like the most pointless kind of rebellion. So he did kind of allow himself to be handcuffed, only then to be released and to talk to Gonzalez and everything. So that was that stuff. And then I think he willingly kind of cooperated with Rosalind as well, like with the ATCU stuff. He willingly cooperated and actually kind of saw how the operation was. But then that was him actually cooperating and talking instead of handing himself over. So he's had moments like this in the past. But then I feel like it definitely is like his death being that much more imminent and that much more possible too. Like it being prophesized and it being, and like his actual physical ailment kind of being there and being ever present too. So it's like it's not like his death has been prophesized with no cause being out there. Like we know the cause, and we know exactly how imminent and how possible it really is. I think because of that, knowing that's what's in the future too, I think is it, because then we also know that Daisy and May also like have that kind of secret kind of hidden plan. They haven't really kind of, I mean, to be fair, they haven't really kind of had the time to go back to, but then they also kind of haven't really kind of gone back to their own kind of little kind of secret duo plan of how to save Coulson, regardless of whether he wants it or not. So I think maybe then May's also pissed. May's also kind of annoyed that like if he actually does die too early, maybe then that means that their plan kind of goes to moot and everything, and they lose him anyway. So there's no confirmation how he dies. Like maybe if his actual kind of physical infection actually reaches him too quickly, or reaches him on time and then it kills him, or if like, because then it's just like you have to let Phil Coulson die. So then he could, yeah, like again, there's also like just as much chance that he might die like fighting the enemy, and he might die mid battle, and then maybe if he's bleeding out or something, or maybe if he's actually dying to injuries, and maybe he could contract other injuries, but then his other things won't be the same, because then the Mack sort of still punched him in the heart, and then that took him out for a good while and everything, so that kind of really immobilized him and everything, and then he had to be defibrillated. So then I feel like there was a good chance that like if he was unconscious from that knock from that hit for too long, then the infection could have easily spread over, and it could easily kind of like increase it or something, and there's no telling exactly how fast the infection might have actually spread from that too. So almost anything can kill him, and if he continues being this way, if he continues in the way that he is as well, because then again, this isn't anything entirely new, but then the stakes being that much higher make his usual kind of strategies and his usual moves that much more risky and that much more kind of lethal and everything. But then him accepting his time to go and everything, because then he's already experienced all of this, and he's already saved the world multiple times, and then built this team and built this family and everything that he so steadfastly believes can truly carry on in the wake of his departure and everything. So for that reason, I think this feels all the more like it could have easily been the final season. And it's like, I'm glad I have more ahead of this, but it's like, if they truly did make this the final season, I would not be surprised. I really would not be surprised and everything. It feels like that much more of like an actual culmination of all the shit they've been through together and everything, in the way that I can definitely see if this was the final season, I can definitely see people kind of making fanfic and stuff like to try and continue the show on in their own way and everything, like maybe giving Deke more stuff, because then Deke would only be in here for one season, and they're giving him more stuff, and maybe even continuing FitzSimmons' story from wherever it ends off, like them actually going on to have their honeymoon, because then they want the honeymoon as well and everything, and actually making it so that the story continues on in just giving pretty much all the characters like their own little kind of fan-made continuations, and actually continuing the story that way. But no, we actually have 2 more seasons after this. So yeah, season 5 might end with like a similar cliffhanger to season 4. I mean, well, to be fair, they knew they were doing season 5 when they finished season 4, but then with season 5, I don't know if they actually kind of knew that they were doing season 6 after season 5. So if they didn't know that they were getting season 6, then they might have easily ended season 5 off on like the pitch perfect kind of ending, but then still leaving something open, and then or just maybe kind of offering them to do like a completely different story for season 6 or something. So I don't know, but either way, back to the point at hand. May is very well founded in her fears and her anxieties and her kind of voice for Coulson. I think her finally actually confessing, you don't get to make that decision for yourself. You don't get to make that decision by yourself. That decision is made with you and for you by the people that you love, and that includes me, because I love you, Phil Coulson. So like her actively telling him that she loves her for the first time, be like, yeah, I figured that would shut you up. Like even him actually looking starstruck, like even him looking all starstruck at her, like, you know, oh shit, you love me, you got feelings for me, Philly J. So obviously not in those words, but yeah, that being her first kind of confession of like she actually loves him too. I think that definitely, like right off the bat, that definitely does feel more like an actual romantic kind of confession more than like a familial thing. Because I mean, again, they're all family, but I think that definitely does kind of feel a lot more like her being like, you know, I am actually in love with you, Phil, and then not just like an I love you and I want you to stick around. Like it's more like she has actually been in love with him pretty much all this time. Even in season 4, they tried to have their first kiss, and then he did it with an LMD, and but you know she still kind of had some May kind of stuff at heart. Anyway, like programming aside, she still had some May memories and May qualities at heart, at her technological LMD heart. Anyway, so I think May finally taking the time to confess her feelings for Coulson too makes just as much sense, because it's her hoping that at least might make him kind of realize exactly what he's leaving behind and who he's leaving behind, because then no doubts he loves May as well. No doubts he's actually in love with May too, but then I think he probably feels like he's been too hyper focused on actually not being greedy and actually kind of letting death take him when necessary and when appropriate. But then he just hasn't properly he's looking more at S.H.I.E.L.D. than his family. He's even looking at the team as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as opposed to family. He's even actually looking at Daisy to be the new director. He's looking at the team as opposed to his family, like his bus kids and his older kids like Yo-Yo and Mack and everything, and then his newfound kind of, you know, grandson, his great grandson adoptively through Deke and everything. That he still doesn't. He at least let him kind of live to find out that his kids have a grandson and everything. At least let him find out that Deke is like his kind of great. Or his great grandchild and everything. Well, yeah, I mean, great grandparents. Well, yeah, because then he's their grandson. And so yeah, his bus kids have a kid. That would make them great grandparents. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so at least let him live to find that out. That Deke is his and everything. So yeah, hopefully the confession of love from May should really kind of knock some sense into that old noggin of his. So I guess we can only wait and see. And I think she even made like a good point about Daisy kind of, you know, being forced into leadership and everything. And him believing in her is one thing, but actually pushing her into it by being like, oh, I'm gonna die soon and you're gonna take up my position, but I know you can do it because you're strong. Like that's not really supportive. That's not really all that kind of, you know, like that's actually even more pressure than anything else, because then she has to remember that he's dying, and then you know, like her and May are both obsessed with saving him and everything, but then he's obsessed with actually kind of leaving, and then actually leaving everything behind in their hands. So I think his intention being trying to leave the agency in the hands that he knows will handle it best is one thing, but then him actually leaving the team in the positions they're in, actually even leaving Daisy in the leadership positions that he wants her in. Daisy kind of like has kind of shown that like she only wants to kind of like to take out that position when she's ready. Like right now she wants Coulson to stay behind, but then she's also happier leading missions out in the field and everything. So then he calls the big shots, and then she calls the baby shots to actually lead up to the big shot and everything. So, and yeah, speaking of Daisy too, she got Talbot the phone call. With thingy. I think that like her scenes with Talbot were actually nice. Like up until the very end, her scenes with Talbot were actually nice. You know, they like I think he initially recognized her through the flashback of LMD here, of LMD her having actually shot him in the forward and everything. He still has the actual bullet wound. So I think whenever I saw that bullet wound and I think what it meant and where it came from, I did kind of remember to myself that like not every headshot will be that lethal. Like not every headshot will be that effective too. I think because I think his one is at like an angle too. So I don't know if it actually kind of still went through or if it kind of like if it lodged in his head maybe, because I think he still had actual kind of mental capability kind of issues when he came back out and everything. So that actually kind of like did teach him to remember stuff again. Actually teach him to kind of process things and actually link stuff together and everything, which he already had trouble with, and it caused him to lash out and everything. So there was that whole thing. But I think seeing that kind of did remind me that like not all headshots will actually kind of result in what you wanted. Like not all headshots will kill. Some will just kind of maim or actually result in memory loss or something else. So there's that whole thing. So then with him, he still has a bullet wound. But then I think he's actually he's actually kind of like performing, actually functioning kind of somewhat better than I expected, because I think he is talking to himself, and I think like maybe that's still kind of his internal monologue actually coming out and coming through, and him actually kind of talking to himself, because then he's still like even in the woods with Coulson, he's still like don't yell at him, don't push him down, he's only trying to help you and everything. But other than that, he's still kind of like he's still able to follow instructions, and he's still able to actually kind of think for himself and talk for himself, and he's still able to say and do stuff and everything. So there's that, and he's able to communicate, and he's able to actually pay attention and actually process what's happening in real time. So his actual mental kind of functioning and everything is still pretty much kind of, it's steady and it's still level and everything. So that's a good sign. Him telling Daisy that like he didn't really kind of blame her for what happened, and he knew that it wasn't her, and he knew it wasn't really her fault and things, and them to actually having like an actual kind of a peaceful reunion after everything that happened was really nice to see. And even her actually trying her best to actually get him what he needed, like actually to get him the phone call that he needed to, was really nice. And then him actually did everything on his end, actually telling her everything he told Hale about the location of the weapon and everything, and even everything he told Hale about S.H.I.E.L.D. and the team and everything. So there was that. But then it also didn't work, because then Hydra was all the way on the other end. So I think maybe then Hale kind of knew that that with Talbot having escaped, S.H.I.E.L.D. would have taken him directly into their custody, and then knowing him, he would also want to get in contact with his family. So then on the off chance that S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually able to secure that kind of a connection between them that wouldn't be hijacked or wouldn't be interpreted, then she still found a much more personal, a much more physical way to actually hijack that kind of conversation, actually have her assistant kind of give Hale's wife a very, very Hydra script to read. So then apparently his interrogation probably included brainwashing too, to actually include the kind of the compliance speech too, like if you comply, like compliance will be rewarded and compliance will be accepted and everything. So then now now Talbot is presumably ready to comply. So I thought that might lead to some kind of like a fight. I mean, I'm still anticipating it is, because I mean the even freakier thing, or like the creepier thing, and the more kind of the more sinister thing is that he didn't say ready to comply. He said happy to. So then that is really kind of like a vague kind of response that Daisy wouldn't be able to actually interpret, or Daisy wouldn't be able to really kind of like decipher anything. So she still has no idea that Hydra's on the other end and everything, trying to activate any kind of brainwashing that Hale kind of inputted into Talbot and things. So either he tries to sabotage S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of operations and tries to sabotage their efforts to stop Hydra, or he fights Daisy then. I mean, if he fights Daisy, then Daisy will still win, because then she still has at least one striking hand, and she still has combat experience and everything. So then but then she's not expecting him to fight back on anything. So she might catch her by surprise. But then otherwise he might be sneaky and actually try and just kind of sabotage S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of operations, or even give away their location or something. So then that way Hale can hunt them down that way, if he even knows where they are. So there's a little sleeper Hydra agent inside his head, ready to awaken and follow orders and everything. So we can only guess exactly how badly that might go. So yeah, we had the Daisy and Ruby fight scene, like Daisy and Ruby's first time meeting. So that was interesting. And yeah, I think some revelations too. I think I think we kind of knew about Ruby actually having her own kind of little personal obsession and interest in Quake and everything, and in Quake too, not so in Daisy Johnson by name, but then Quake by nature and everything, and then by her kind of nature of being the superhero that she is and everything. So not entirely surprised, I think, because it makes sense, but it's also like a concept of like obsession and like hero idolization that I'm kind of familiar with, like through these kinds of stories too. Her being like, I don't want to be you, I want to beat you. So like her actually kind of be like being obsessed with Quake because of her power, because of who she is, because of what she is, what she's accomplished and everything too. But I think also, I feel like it's also a mixture of what she can do and who she is, but also like her own mother's kind of acceptance of her too, because then she's faced nothing but disappointment, claims, and kind of setbacks and holdbacks from her mother. Like her mother constantly putting her through tests, but still setting boundaries for her, and she's still holding her back from doing what she believes is the right thing to do. But then applauding Daisy and actually holding her up to a higher standard, actually kind of holding her up as the ideal candidate for the destroyer of worlds machine and everything. So then I think that's probably kind of only. I mean, I wonder maybe if that kind of changed things too. Like maybe to start off with, she even did reference Quake as the kind of hero, that little girls actually want to grow up to be. So then, reminiscent of the whole kind of Buddy and Mr. Incredible thing from The Incredibles. Like to begin with, he actually kind of did idolize him and obsess over him and fantasize over him and being like him and everything. But then, after being rejected by Mr. Incredible, he actually just grew vengeful and thought, you know what? If I can't be you, then I'll be better than you, and I'll be someone that even you can't be. So then, maybe growing up, she actually did kind of idolize Quake in some way. Like, you actually seen her be powerful and seen her be strong and everything. But then, seeing that even her own mother kind of despises her and hates her. Yeah, not despise her, but then even her own mother can't help but be disappointed by her, and she kind of holds her to almost impossible standards, but then still kind of treats her this way. But then all of a sudden, she kind of starts kind of like side eyeing Daisy as a candidate for the machine and everything. So then all of a sudden, she's like, wow, so. Spent all these years kind of idolizing you, and now even my own mother prefers you to me. So then now it's like, that obsession stays the same, but then her idolization of her goes from idolization to something far more lethal. So now like that line alone encapsulates it perfectly. Like I don't want to be you anymore. I just want to beat you. So in that way, I get like if she can prove that she's even better than Daisy Johnson, then that way that would be the ultimate test for her to pass. Like for her to actually beat the person that even her mother would rather have for the machine too. So yeah, but it was a great first meeting between them nonetheless, and of course by nature it just kind of led to fighting and everything. And Daisy even cut her hands too. So I'm guessing that I'm really kind of fully kind of assuming that means that she can only kind of have like one working hand actually unleashing quakes and everything. Because then I feel like in superhero media too, I think when you have a lot of those kind of hand based powers too, if any kind of damage occurs to the hand, then I think the exception. I mean, could Doctor Strange be the exception? I mean, well, Doctor Strange had his powers afterwards, after he actually kind of had the accident. He lost his hands and everything, where he lost the motor function in his hands. So was it motor function or was it sensory? I think he lost some kind of function, like some kind of function in his hands that actually made them like he couldn't really kind of use them anymore. But then he still had magic. He had magic. I think maybe he might be the exception. But I think anyone who actually starts off with those powers first, and then they kind of sustain any injury to the hands. Because I remember in the Flash, what I'm thinking of in the Flash is when Cisco had his hands frozen up, like in some kind of future vision, he had his hands frozen up when he fought Killer Frost, and his hands froze up, and he lost them. But then those hands were replaced by bionic ones, but then those hands didn't have vibe powers through them, so then he actually lost his powers that way. But then I can't remember if it's actually still in the Arrowverse or not. But I think there's another kind of superhero kind of thing I've seen where like where the hero actually kind of faced suffered an injury, like a slice or like a cut to their hands, and then that meant that they actually couldn't use their hands to emit their powers as well anymore. So I don't know exactly what it is I'm thinking of, but it might still be Vibe actually. I think he did still cut his hands at some point. I think he actually did still cut his palm at some point, and then that kind of that still did affect his actual vibing powers and everything. But I don't know if it's definitely him or someone else. But either way, with Daisy, I'm guessing that cut to her hands, because then that was still like a full cut to her palm as well. I'm pretty sure it was a cut to her wrist or like to her palm or something. So I'm guessing she already can't fully control or fully kind of hone her powers without her gauntlets. I think even then, I think using it without gauntlets is one thing, but then using it without gauntlets through injured hands will be like a whole other kind of problem. So then I think that way she might only be able to use it with the other kind of healthier, kind of fully kind of non-injured hand and everything. So I'm not sure if she has advanced healing, because then I think in season 4, the whole thing was that her bones actually kind of had trouble healing from the actual kind of from the backlash of her powers. So then because of that, her gauntlets, I think her gauntlets didn't work properly, or she didn't have them. I think Yo-Yo kept sneaking her those pills to actually keep her bones kind of stable and everything, and to keep her powers stable and everything. So, or at least to actually allow her to use her powers without breaking her bones apart completely. So there was that whole thing. But now she has a hand injury, so that might not be kind of the most ideal thing to have. So I wonder how much of an impedance on her powers that's going to be. So, and speaking of arms and tech and arms not working in accordance with powers, Yo-Yo, that seems like a really it seems like a really kind of. It seems like a flaw they should have really considered beforehand too. I think the fact that they know what's wrong and the fact that they know why it's happening, it really kind of it really begs the question, do they suddenly know why it's not working, or is it just a design flaw they overlooked beforehand because then they didn't exactly know how soon she'd be out in the field? Because then I think Wait, I mean, is the arm meant to be a prototype, or is it actually meant to be like a working, finalized kind of thing? Because I think I can't remember if they actually kind of mentioned if it was meant to be like an actual prototype, or if it was meant to be like an actual battle or anything. Because if not, then that would make more sense. If it's just a prototype, then that would make more sense. Because then they haven't actually kind of put on all the final touches, and then maybe. But then even if that's the case, then why would they actually? Then they went into this mission knowing, like, they went into this mission with weapons, and they went into this mission with Yo-Yo, who has metal arms that are very good at punching holes and things and actually doing that. So then they went into this fully expecting hostile kind of blowback and everything, and being prepared for a fight. So then I don't know why they would do that if they already knew that her arms weren't battle ready, and then they wouldn't work with their powers. So then that's just asking for trouble, asking for her to be injured. I mean, fair enough, she still proved herself by taking on Ivanov hand to hand, fucking handing his own technological ass to him himself and everything. But then why they wouldn't even warn her either? Because if they knew, then that's even more kind of dickish. Because then they still let her run, actually still let her kind of suffer the actual kind of painful kind of blowback of actually of her hands kind of feeling the way they did and everything. So then I can't imagine them not warning her and actually just letting her discover it for herself. So I think maybe then it might be that like maybe they forgot about it, or maybe they actually just didn't fully consider, or maybe they didn't really think it would happen, and then maybe it did, and then they're like, oh, that makes sense. And then that was my question right from the get-go too, like, wait, like, she has new arms, but then are these arms both her speakers, and these arms are not originally part of her, they're artificial, and then they're made from something else, and they're not really fit. They're made to be strong, and they're made to be durable, and they're made to actually kind of exert a lot of strength, but then and to be able to handle a lot of stuff and be super punchy and everything. But then are they actually built for her powers, for her speed? Because then it's made from the mechs. I can't remember what the mechs are made out of. Like if they made it, like I don't think they're made out of gravitonium. I think I can't remember exactly what the mechs are made out of. But then even then, it's like, you know, they can take a lot and they can dish out a lot too. So then, because I don't know, but then even then, I think my main concern was like, you know, like if the arms aren't built for her powers, then maybe they might slow her down. Maybe they might not let her run as fast as she wants to. Maybe like going in speed, like she might really be lagging behind and still be slower and might not get as far as she wants to. But no, it's like coming back. I think she just comes back and her arms start fizzing out, and then it's like it's like all the signals are being sent simultaneously through the arms at once, and then like the arms are actually overloading her nervous system, and it's actually kind of, the feedback is really debilitating and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it just seems like a really obvious design flaw. But then again, in their defense, if it's a prototype and not a finalized version, then that makes sense, and that kind of can be, you know, that can be forgiven. So then they did their best to cover it up, and maybe you still bled through. So I don't know, if it's a prototype, then there's obviously just like a lot of stuff that needs patching, and a lot of stuff that can still be continuously patched in accordance to whatever kind of troubles that she runs into in the battlefield, no pun intended. His head is in this. I think I don't know what Ada did to that head in the Dark. I think season 4 showed that she built multiple Ivanovs based off of that kind of head, but then I think his head, I don't know, I'm still kind of, his body is still, his body's LMD, but then his head, even in that final scene where she landed on him and actually crushed his chest and everything, it showed the actual kind of the skin, the tissue, and the blood, and then the actual techniques kind of underneath everything. But then his head still suffered like blunt force kind of damage that left it in like a pool of blood and everything. So I don't know if his organic head is still out there somewhere, or maybe if his head, if she's actually fully killed Ivanov once and for all. If she has fully killed Ivanov, then fucking huzzah, like finally he's actually over and done with everything, and finally Yo-Yo still gets to actually do something, actually kind of accomplish like a win even without her arms fully being in cooperation with us, and actually finally gets to engage in some actual hand-to-hand combat and actually take him out once and for all and everything. So that's really cool. So yeah, I don't know, I'm hoping, I think this would be a very, very swift and very, very kind of fitting and suitable kind of end, and a very satisfying end to Ivanov's kind of thing too. Like maybe like this one being the absolute last LMD of him there is out there, but maybe his head still kind of being the original head he had, but then his body still being mostly machine, and just kind of her kind of finishing off everything, like the man and the machine and everything. So I don't know, hoping. So here's hoping. And I think Ivanov also actually talked to Hale on the phone, actually saying that he wanted like a chance with the machine too. But I really don't know what the gravitonium would do for him, because I think the gravitonium is obviously meant to kind of amplify stuff too. But then for Daisy, it's meant to amplify her powers to the point where she would be capable of destroying the Earth and everything. So that's what that would do. But then I think I don't know exactly what it would do for Ruby, because I think Ruby doesn't have powers, and she's just really well trained, and she has the actual probably electromagnetic blades or just blades that can be summoned at will and everything. But then I think besides that, she doesn't have any powers. I think I don't know exactly what. And we've seen what it can do for Creel too. For Creel, it connected him to the gravitonium, but then he was never infused. I think he was never fully infused. He was just connected to, and then I think maybe a part of it latched onto him in some way, so he was connected to it in that way. But it never fully fully infused in him. I don't even know if it can be infused in a person like that. Because the future kind of supposedly being that a gravitonium infused Daisy can do that to the Earth would imply that it can, but then that's the only real proof that we have. But then we don't have any proof of what happens when the gravitonium attaches to a normal human, except the normal humans can't be infused with it. Regular humans like Hall and Quinn just get absorbed into the gravitonium and they become one with it, and then they kind of connect to anyone else. But then Creel isn't inhuman. Creel kind of the machine that FitzSimmons and Yo-Yo found in that kind of secret room was I think she called it like an advanced particle kind of adjuster, or it was different to the actual particle kind of infusion thing, I think, or maybe like an earlier kind of like a different version of it. But that one had the infuser thing that actually kind of that synthesized or did something to the particles of like an original element that then allowed it to be merged with the recipient's DNA. So that's how Creel was born. That's how Creel was born with powers. I think Hydra used that on him to turn him into the absorbing man and everything. But then they said that his one was also temporary. I think that they said that Creel's kind of power thing was actually temporary, and that's why he had to keep absorbing new materials, and he had also his absorption. So I think that makes me question can he only absorb something for a certain amount of time, and then maybe that kind of gives him the freedom to absorb different materials. So, I feel like maybe he could absorb different materials anyway, but then maybe that's why he turns into human form too. So maybe if he added if it was more permanent, maybe then he'd actually never go back to human again. So maybe he actually transforms. If it was more permanent, then maybe he absorbs one material, but then he stays that way until he absorbs something else or something. So even for legitimate purposes, we still don't know exactly what the gravitonium can connect to or can infuse onto. So, but I think maybe that's the point of the actual chamber too. So the chamber turns gravitonium into something that can actually be merged with human or even inhuman DNA. So maybe then, but with Ivanov too, I think he wanted like a chance in the chamber. So then he it would turn him into like a gravitonium LMD, so I don't know if it'll make him stronger, maybe make him actually more durable or something, so maybe give him more strength or something, so I don't know, but either way, he wanted a chance. I think maybe kind of Hale said yes to just kind of, be, because then she still said she needed a human material to actually test it on, so maybe with his head maybe being the only human part left of him, maybe it would actually affect his brain, and maybe it would actually kind of send him more and more kind of obsessed with supremacy and superiority and becoming more stronger and everything than that. So I don't know, but either way, we're not going to find out now because he's dead. So courtesy of Yo-Yo. So yeah, that's he can wave goodbye to that dream. And then we had FitzSimmons. I think I'm going to go with Ruby and Alex, but no, we'll start with FitzSimmons because they coincide with the Ruby and Alex anyway. So there's that. But yeah, FitzSimmons, I think they talked about wanting their honeymoon in England when all this kind of stuff was over, and then they actually had time for a honeymoon because they still haven't had a honeymoon. So even Deke kind of suggesting like a post-wedding yeehaw that hasn't happened yet. Who knows if they can have it even without wanting to procreate. They can have it like plenty of times before they actually do procreate and actually kind of have their daughter and everything. So there's a time and space and stuff. But yeah, I think they still haven't had time for a honeymoon yet. So I think they did kind of contemplate actually could consider having it in England and everything. And they were in, I think I know of Hertfordshire, but then that's with a T. That is with a T. I'm gonna Google to see if it was like Herefordshire. Hertfordshire is a thing. Hertfordshire, like with an E. Hertfordshire. Oh, well, so it's a county in the West Midlands. Okay, I don't think I've ever been there. I think it's like near Birmingham. I've never been to Birmingham, so bordered by Shropshire to the north, or Worcestershire to the east, and Gloucestershire to the southeast. Okay, Hertfordshire. I knew of Hertfordshire. I think I am thinking of Hertfordshire, right? I am thinking of because I'm pretty sure I've heard of Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire, yeah, non-metropolitan county. Yeah, it's in the southern England. Yeah, it's near Watford. Okay, so borders Bedfordshire and Cambridgeshire and Greater London to the south. Yeah, okay, Hertfordshire is what I'm familiar with. I didn't know about Herefordshire. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce it. Like Herefordshire, like Herefordshire or Hereford. I don't know. But yeah, okay, so that's the thing then. So Herefordshire. So yeah, yeah. I mean, fair enough. I've been born and raised in this country, but again, I have not been nearly anywhere. Like I haven't really kind of left my own kind of residence and everything. Of like, you know, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I think I saw the actual kind of little kind of the kind of area screen title thing saying I'm gonna spend the next kind of hour, like, and until I actually Google like a video of someone saying I'm gonna spend the next hour contemplating how the fuck to say it, because I only know Hertfordshire. I literally only know Hertfordshire. This is the first time I've been seeing it spelled that way, and I thought it might have been like a typo on their end, but no, it's an actual legitimate place in the UK that they flew to. So yeah, but no, here I'm gonna say here. It looks like here, so I'm gonna say here. So I'm until I actually kind of know better, I'm gonna say here. So Herefordshire or Herefordshire or Hertfordshire. Does it without the heart? Because then you still say like Hertfordshire, but you oh gosh, I don't know how many English people are gonna be annoyed with me at the end of this video, but yeah. Either way, they went there, but they contemplated having their honeymoon in England. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure Simmons is from Sheffield, and I think I don't want to say Ian. I think Ian is Scottish, but I think also Fitz is Scottish too. Fitz is Scottish. I don't know if Elizabeth is from Sheffield, or if she. I mean, she might as well be. I feel like she definitely might as well be. But yeah, I think Ian is Scottish, but then also like the Fitz is Scottish too. I think he's from. Where is he from? I think he's from Perth. I think he's from Perthshire. I think he's from. I was about to say Glasgow, but I don't know if Perthshire might be near Glasgow or in Glasgow. But I think he's from. Pretty sure he's from Perthshire, or like, is it Perthshire? Is it? I'm just gonna be googling so many different locations in the UK. It's Perthshire. It is Perthshire. It is Perthshire. So yeah, Perthshire is in Scotland, known as the Big County, or even the Shire. It's even as he's from the fucking Shire. It's in central Scotland. So either way, so he's from Perthshire, and then she's from Sheffield. So there's that. But yeah, I think that they kind of want their honeymoon to be in England, which makes sense too. Which makes sense. I mean, I don't know if that means that they might actually try and actually kind of have their daughter while they're on the honeymoon or something. But it would be like a nice enough kind of gift to bring back. Like, oh yeah, Simmons is pregnant. She's kind of extending this to your family this way. So yeah, that's nice enough. I think I feel like that may as well like be like an actual off-screen thing too, like them two just kind of being out for like an episode or two, but while being out on the honeymoon, just them two in the kind of countryside of England, and just kind of enjoying the cloudy skies and, you know, the country and the winds and the ocean, and maybe sipping on some hot chocolate or something. So I don't fucking know, whatever floats their boat, whatever floats their very English boat. So yeah, if they do go missing for like an episode or two, I think post kind of dramatic tension of the reunion aside, then maybe the honeymoon might be what they need to actually break the tension to. Maybe them two being away and actually spending time by themselves, and then Daisy kind of dealing with her own shit, and then maybe they come back and actually recuperate and rendezvous and everything. So yeah, but either way, I think their honeymoon would be like a really nice break for them to have, even in the midst of all this. So don't know if they'd be able to relax in the midst of it, but you know, it'd be a nice enough break for them to have. But then that's why they also did specify like, it would be nice for them to have their honeymoon after all this is over, and so that way they don't have to actually worry about anything, and then they can actually kind of go away and have a break and then come back to the next big new mission base and everything. So which would probably be Coulson and everything. So yeah, it would be cool to see if they're actually going to spend some time out of the episode to actually going to get that done and everything. So, and yeah, we had some tension between Hale and Ruby too. That didn't really kind of end all too well. Yeah, I think they just kind of fought, and then I think Hale tried to actually lock Ruby back in her room, and it was definitely I'm pretty sure it was still her room, but then of course like because then it still looked a lot more roomy and like a lot more personal than anything that the Alex or even Coulson got, there's been legitimate prison cells, but there has been like an actual bedroom. But then this time it was just stripped of any personality and turned into like something on display at IKEA. Like that's essentially what she gave us. So she took down her Quake is my hero poster. She took down and just turned it into like the most kind of generic kind of IKEA display of a bedroom you would find and everything, with the plain kind of walls and the plain furniture and the plain kind of, you know, everything. Just you know, everything she'd actually put up in there, including the Quake is My Hero poster, was what actually led her, like that amount of freedom and that amount of personal freedom was what led her to have the mentality that she did, and what led her to be impatient and as reckless as she was, and what led her to be as kind of impulsive as she was too. Knowing that, I think she probably kind of like turned her room into that to try and actually to nullify her a bit more, and to actually kind of slow her down a bit more too, actually giving her like the kind of plainest environments that she kind of soak in, absorb and everything. So punishing her by taking away what made her her and everything, because then what she was being just kind of was too much for Hale. So But then Alex came in and she said that he wanted to give Ruby the news or even instead of actually giving it to her mother at all, he gave it to Ruby instead. So then, yeah, he finally actually unlocked his father's secrets of the chamber and put all the information together and everything. So I thought Ruby might kill her mother, because then she did literally say, like, you know, I passed every test you put in front of me. You keep raising boundaries, but I keep passing them, and I keep trying to be what you want me to be, and I keep trying to be the best and everything. And you just refuse give me a choice. But then she even said like her key phrase for me being like, you know, you even told me to eliminate my weakness, and I did. So then the dog was taken out. I mean, but then she still had the dog. I think from what we see, she still has the dog. So then I'm kind of guessing that maybe they took the dog away and kind of gave it to someone else, or just released it back to somewhere else or something. So because I can't imagine them actually killing the dog now after everything else. So Ruby also seems to be the kind of person that actually kind of have great emotional control. So then maybe that means that she can actually kind of cry on cue. But then actually kind of she vents her emotions better as anger than she does as actual tears or like actual emotional reactions. And then that way she can cry on cue, but then her crying will also kind of be kind of pseudo and fake and everything. So then that way she can actually build up to the perfect reveal that she's actually rebelling and actually fighting back against her mother and everything. So then I thought that meant she might try and kill her, but then no, she's locking her up so in that way that she won't get in the way of any of her and Alex's plans to kind of achieve the machine and take it for themselves and everything. So she very definitively like had Ruby trained in the right ways, and she had Ruby trained in the ways that she needed to. But then part of me also thinks that maybe it's like she let her decorate her room however she wanted, because then that was the choice. Like that was the choice she gave her. Like she gave her the choice of how she wanted her room to look, to actually kind of keep the dog as well, and to actually kind of like keep the poster up. And she did disagree with the poster, but then I think for the most part she still wanted her to have the childhood and the upbringing that she never got and everything, because she was in Hydra kind of school and everything. But then with Ruby, she was still in Hydra school, but then she still got the chance to actually kind of decorate her room as humanly and as socially and as kind of as personally as possible and everything. But then in the end, I think that kind of personality and that freedom, I think she kind of still somewhat kind of identified as being the reason that Ruby actually was getting so out of hand in her eyes, and actually being so impulsive, and actually being so kind of like insistent on actually doing things the way that she saw fit, and actually being as reckless and as ruthless as she wanted to be and everything. So then, you know, that kind of actually prompted her to go one step further and to actually kind of strip her of that much more kind of colour in her life, and actually kind of be all the more kind of isolated from what she was, and now like being punished in this way kind of makes her feel like that might be what kind of helps Ruby become someone more kind of in line with Hale's standards and everything. So, and then yeah, the very end saw Alex and Ruby finding their way to FitzSimmons in the chamber room and everything. He actually did order the scientist to actually kind of like pack up and have the gravitonium ready for delivery. So that way, I think he could actually have it delivered to the chamber room possibly, and then use that to kind of infuse it with the chamber, and then have Ruby go through the machine, and then maybe actually try and have her transformed and actually infused with the gravitonium. So, but yeah, I mean, admittedly, like that scene of FitzSimmons actually kind of having that whole slow-mo kind of shootout thing to try and prove their invincibility and everything, I think they've come really far. I think that scene will easily, like, for me, go down as one of the kind of like the pinnacle kind of points of them having come so far from where they started, like kind of like to from Fitz and Simmons, like equally kind of both being kind of barely able to hold a gun and only being trained shield scientists, to them now being in like an active shootout against fucking killer robots and everything. So, and then like the whole thing being slow-mo and everything too, and then just gonna, and like but part of that kind of being powered by at least kind of Fitz's kind of persistence that they both can't die and everything, with the threat of death at Ruby's kind of hands being the ending for this, I'm kind of wondering maybe if like either like because I mean they'll obviously kind of have to survive, but then it might make me it kind of makes me wonder like if they might try and pull like a the MCU has already established that Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit with the other whole Endgame thing. But then with that one, they never. I think that they went back in time to try and bring something back to the future. I think with this one, it's actually Deke kind of coming into the past with no way home. Here, Deke has no way back home to the future that he actually came from. So then with this one, I can't help but wonder maybe if this might prove that like they've only really experienced like time travel in terms of seeing the past and having it confirmed. Like they've never actually kind of had like anyone changing the present and then thereby affecting the past too. So then they've never kind of like it's never actually been proven to them that they can't be harmed, and then that's their belief, but then it's never actually kind of been disproven to them. So then that way, like with them kind of with Simmons being so imminent to death with Ruby's blade at her neck, I think maybe that might be. You know, unless Yo-Yo actually does come through and save them somehow, because then she can't use her speed because then her arms don't work. But then, unless she or someone else comes out, or maybe like unless they cooperate and actually kind of do kind of repair it from their own damage in time for rescue and everything, then that might be like but because I mean cooperation might also just be like literally the only survival tactic they have. So in that way, if they do cooperate and they do fix it, then maybe they actually might let them go and everything. So. Maybe then fixing it might give them time to stall and everything, so that might get Yo-Yo in, or maybe actually get like a rescue team in and stuff that can actually help fight off Ruby and Alex and everything. So I don't know. Either way, we'll find out. But I think maybe then going forward, we might just kind of see kind of more and more episodes kind of testing Fitz's theory of like, oh, you really don't believe the time can be changed, or you really believe that you're that invincible or that kind of indestructible or anything. So we'll see exactly how future events actually kind of prop you up against that theory. So, but yeah, I think for now that is pretty much all I have, besides from some other kind of couple of tidbits kind of floating around my head, but it isn't nothing that really kind of requires like too much kind of speculation or pondering over anything, just kind of other kind of tiny kind of moments and everything. But yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much everything in my notes crossed off and everything and discussed. So yeah, as per usual, this made for like a really long review, so hopefully you guys can get through it kind of easily enough and as per usual. So yeah, that was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 17 of season 5. So thank you guys as always so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what your thoughts are on this episode and what you thought of it and how you think things will be moving forward, and any just general thoughts you have on this episode and everything that went down and stuff, and what you think might happen to characters and everything. Of course, spoiler free as per usual. For those interested, the full-length reaction will be available over on Patreon, so you can go check it over there. And yeah, that is it for now. So until the next time, bye bye for now.